James Garner was more than a Hollywood legend. He was a symbol of grounded dignity in an industry built on spectacle. Born during the Great Depression and shaped by hardship, he became famous for portraying men of integrity who didn't need to shout to be heard. But while audiences loved his charm, his life was marked by struggle, resilience, and quiet courage. Garner's career spanned decades, from the witty cowboy Brett Maverick to the world-weary detective Jim Rockford. He was a rare star who maintained humility despite fame, and he built a marriage that lasted nearly 6 decades. Yet even someone as level-headed as Garner had his own opinions about Hollywood icons, including Randolph Scott, the legendary Western star. In his later years, Garner finally spoke openly about Scott, revealing not just admiration, but also the mystery and complexity behind the man whose stoic presence once defined the genre: early life, hardship, and strength. James Scott, Bum Garner, was born on April 7, 1928, in Norman, Oklahoma, into a world of hardship. The Great Depression shaped his childhood, and he experienced loss early. His mother died when he was only 5, leaving his father, Weldon Bumner, struggling to keep the family stable. Young James spent much of his youth moving between relatives, working odd jobs, and learning to survive with limited resources. These early experiences built a quiet resilience and humility that would later become the foundation of his acting style. Garner's life wasn't shaped by privilege, but by real-world struggle. The values of hard work, self-reliance, and empathy were ingrained in him from a young age, and he carried them into Hollywood, an industry that often rewarded glamour over character. This background made him relatable, and it later made his performances feel genuine. War service and the formation of a hero. At age 16, Garner dropped out of school and joined the Merchant Marine. He later served in the U.S. Army during the Korean War, where he earned 2 Purple Hearts for bravery. The war left him physically and emotionally scarred, but it also gave him a deep sense of discipline, humility, and inner strength. Unlike many actors who glamorized heroism, Garner refused to romanticize his experiences. He believed courage was quiet, not loud. These values would shape his acting, leading him to portray principled men who stood up for what was right, even when it was difficult. The war also strengthened his belief in realism, something he later brought into roles like Jim Rockford, where heroism came through intelligence and restraint rather than violence. His military service made him more than a star. It made him a man who understood sacrifice. The Accidental Actor. A Star is Born. Garner's entry into acting was unexpected. After returning from the war, he moved to Los Angeles and worked various jobs, including modeling for print ads. One day, while helping a friend audition, a talent agent noticed his calm presence, striking looks, and natural charisma. Without formal training, Garner began taking small roles in television and film, learning through experience. His big break came in 1957 when he was cast as Brett Maverick in Maverick, a hit Western series that changed the genre. Maverick was unlike traditional heroes, witty, reluctant to fight, and always quick with a comeback. The role matched Garner's real-life personality and made him an overnight sensation. His performance redefined the Western hero, turning him into a clever, charming rogue rather than a gun-toting warrior. The success of Maverick launched Garner into stardom and set the stage for his long career, a 1960s icon from comedy to drama. In the 1960s, Garner became one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. He moved seamlessly into film, starring in romantic comedies like The Thrill of It All, 1963, and Move Over Darling, 1963, alongside Doris Day. He also proved he could handle intense drama, appearing in the war epic The Great Escape, 1963, where he held his own alongside Steve McQueen. Garner's charm was effortless, but his performances also showed emotional depth. Unlike many stars, he avoided ego and pretension. Colleagues described him as professional, kind, and refreshingly grounded. His fame never changed his core values. He remained the kind of man who treated everyone with respect, from the director to the crew. His ability to balance humor and seriousness made him one of the most beloved actors of his era. The Rockford years. Reinventing the TV hero. In the 1970s, Garner returned to television with The Rockford Files, a show that became one of the most iconic detective series in history. As Jim Rockford, he played a private investigator who preferred negotiation over violence and who survived on wit, charm, and street smarts. The role required physical stamina, and Garner performed many of his own stunts, enduring injuries that affected his health later in life. Despite the demands, he never lost his dedication. Garner won an Emmy in 1977 for his role, and fans continue to adore him for his human, imperfect hero. Rockford wasn't a superhero. He was a real man with flaws, debts, and pain. That realism made the character unforgettable, and it reflected Garner's own belief that heroism is quiet, not loud. Later career and legacy. Garner's later career proved his versatility. He starred in Murphy's Romance, 1985, earning an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor, and later moved audiences worldwide with The Notebook, 2004, where he played a loving husband caring for his ailing wife. He also returned to television in reunion movies for Maverick and Rockford Files, proving that his charm remained timeless. Beyond acting, Garner was an advocate for actors' rights, fighting against unfair studio practices and demanding creative freedom. He was not only a star, but also a champion for his peers. His legacy extended beyond performances, becoming a symbol of integrity and professionalism in Hollywood. A rare love story. His marriage to Lois Garner's personal life was anchored by his marriage to Lois Josephine Fletchman Clark. They met in 1956 and fell in love quickly. After only 2 weeks of dating, they married on August 17, 1956. Their honeymoon cost $77, a detail Garner often joked about, but the story reflected the modesty that remained part of his character. Their marriage endured nearly 58 years, a rare achievement in Hollywood. Lois brought stability, warmth, and balance to Garner's life. She was already a mother to a daughter, Kim, who was recovering from polio, and Garner stepped into the role of stepfather with patience and kindness. In 1958, the couple welcomed their own daughter, Greta, who would later become a producer and philanthropist. Their marriage faced challenges, including 2 periods of separation, but they always found their way back, proving that love can endure even the harshest pressures. The truth about Randolph Scott Garner rarely spoke ill of others, but in later interviews he spoke candidly about Randolph Scott, revealing admiration and deep respect. He described Scott as a man of discipline and quiet strength, a figure whose presence on screen was defined by dignity rather than flair. Garner recalled that Scott didn't need loud gestures to command attention. He carried himself with calm confidence, like someone who knew exactly who he was. Garner believed Scott represented a fading ideal of masculinity, a man of few words but unwavering integrity. Yet Scott's intense privacy also led to misunderstandings. Garner explained that rumors spread because Scott never offered personal details. He refused to play the publicity game, preferring his work to speak for itself. Garner admired Scott's professionalism and believed his legacy extended beyond Westerns. He defined what it meant to be a true leading man. A quiet tribute to a Hollywood original. Garner's reflections on Randolph Scott revealed more than admiration. They revealed a shared value system. Scott's distance and reserve were not flaws, but authenticity. He didn't pretend to be emotional or open just to please others. Garner respected that, calling him steadfast and noting that he lived by his own code. He believed Scott's legacy was built on consistency, dignity, and professionalism, qualities that influenced many actors, including Garner himself. In a world where fame often requires performance off-screen, Scott's refusal to participate in the celebrity machine made him an enigma. Garner's tribute was therefore a rare acknowledgement from one legendary actor to another, an acknowledgement that true greatness can be quiet. Final years and enduring love. James Garner passed away on July 19, 2014, at the age of 86, just days before his 58th wedding anniversary. His death marked the end of one of Hollywood's most enduring love stories. Lois remained his anchor throughout his life and cared for him during his final years, protecting his privacy from the public. Her life after his death was quieter, filled with memories of their decades together. Garner had once said that Lois's steady nature balanced his fiery personality, and their bond was proof of that truth. When he died, it wasn't just a star the world lost. It was a man whose life stood as a model of loyalty, humility, and quiet strength. His legacy lives on through his films, his characters, and the rare dignity he brought to Hollywood. Conclusion: the maverick who never changed. James Garner was a man who stayed true to himself in an industry that constantly demands reinvention. From his humble beginnings to his rise as one of Hollywood's most beloved stars, he remained grounded, professional, and deeply human. His life story was shaped by hardship, courage, and love. His admiration for Randolph Scott revealed his belief in a certain kind of masculinity, quiet, disciplined, and principled. And his marriage to Lois showed that even in Hollywood, love can be lasting. Garner's legacy is not only the roles he played, but the way he lived, steadfast, respectful, and real. In the end, he proved that true greatness doesn't need to shout. It simply stands tall.